Welcome, everybody. Hi, thank you all for being here on this beautiful, someone called it the first day of summer because the temperature went up over 10 degrees today, so thank you for being here tonight. I'm Adina from Salt Spring Books, and it's my pleasure to launch this book. Kathy Page is a good friend of mine, and it's always a pleasure to launch Kathy's many books. I'll talk about Kathy first, and then Kathy will introduce the book, but I'd like to have a chance to talk about the book just before she comes up, so I'll do that second. As I say, Kathy's a good friend of mine. She's a mother. She's a community activist in our community, having helped us build our pool. She's now going to improve and revolutionize our school system, hopefully. And she's a wonderful gardener. If you've never seen her garden, she's an amazing gardener and an artist at one time. Beautiful art hanging in her house. She's also a writer, obviously, and she's written 7 novels. Story of My Face was longlisted for the Orange Fiction Prize. That's the first book I ever read of Kathy's, and we launched it inside the bookstore with about 33 people jammed in between the books and the bookshelves, and became fast friends. That's a wonderful book. If you've not read it, you really should. As well as Alfred was shortlisted for the Governor General's Award, also an amazing book written from Kathy's experience of being a writer in residence at a men's prison. If you haven't read that book, you also should read that. And The Find, which was shortlisted for the 2001 Relit Award, which is a wonderful book set somewhat on our coast here. So when Kathy said she was doing this anthology, I was incredibly excited because my old life is in the theater. My new life with the kids here on Salt Spring is also in the theater, but I trained in a kind of body-based acting in Vancouver for 15 years, where we spent lots of time in classrooms trying to get in touch with our bodies and our intuitions and all the things that our cells teach us and tell us that we don't think we know. So when Kathy talked about this book, I was really excited, and I already see it as a piece that should be performed, but that's another story. So I had these ideas about the book, and as the authors were being collected, I thought more about, okay, oh, I know that author, okay, well, I don't know what part of the body he or she's doing, but okay, that would be interesting. So I had some very clear ideas as a reader, as a serious bookseller, that I knew what this book would be like, and I knew how it would land with me. And I'd like to tell you that as a bookseller, I'm not often surprised, but this book really surprised me. I delight in things that move me experientially, and this book did that from the opening moments of the book. I was sitting on the couch and I burst out laughing. And my kids were like, Mom, what are you reading? Because I giggle a lot to myself, but bursting out laughing, that doesn't happen much with reading, even humorous books. And then the other day, I was sitting at home with the flu, and I burst out crying, and I was quickly, gutturally crying. Chloe was comforting me, and my 9-year-old daughter, and she's like, Mom, what are you reading? Oh, it's Kathy's book. Oh, it's Kathy's book was the answer. I knew that there would be great tidbits of research. I knew that these authors would dive into things that we want to know, things that we want to hear, strange bits of information. I knew all that would be there, but I had no idea how much this book would make me think about my own body and my experiences up until this time, being a 46-year-old woman. And that surprise delighted me so much, thinking that I would know what this book was about. When my kids consoled me, I tried to explain to them that sometimes reading a book is like being with a friend very late at night sharing a secret over a glass of wine, or maybe 5 glasses of wine. And this book is like that, except it's full of friends. It's like 20 people you haven't met before, telling you their deepest, darkest secret. One of those evenings where the next morning when you wake up from that conversation, you are different friends. You have formed a friendship. You have made an intimacy that can't be made unless you've shared something really revealing. And to see authors, most of whom, to me, the book is a space that exists between us. It's not something that we necessarily will ever be in a room together sharing. This book puts you in the room with those people, and that was a magical thing for me. I said to Kathy earlier that I would end with, if you want to feel better about yourself, if you want to think about your self-esteem and how you feel about your body, spend $25, contemplate these essays, read this book. Kathy Page.